Good afternoon, family. Thanks for checking out today's video. If you are new here, my name is Jonathan, and I created this channel as a way to record my progress as I work towards my goal of losing 300 pounds in 3 years. If you'd like to join the family, hit that subscribe button. Also, make sure you click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. If you'd like to participate on the discussion, you can join me most weekdays where I go live on YouTube around 4 p.m. Central Time, or outside of my live streams, you can consider joining the Discord I created. There is a link for that down in the description below. Also down in the description below is a link to a Pinterest board. That is a great place for you guys to get an idea of the foods that we've been enjoying on our whole food plant-based diet. Today is day 860 of my 3-year challenge to lose 300 pounds. I've used a combination of extended water fasting and a whole food plant-based salt, oil, sugar-free diet to lose over 235 pounds so far. I'm looking forward to reaching my goal here and living out the rest of my life at a healthy weight. If anybody has any non-scale victories they'd like to share, I'd love to hear your non-scale victories. If you have any on-scale victories, I love hearing those as well. If you are succeeding with your diet, let us know what you're doing to succeed. If you're struggling, let us know what's causing your struggles. Maybe we can help you out. And at the end of the day, what are some things that you are going to do that will make staying on your diet easier than the alternative? Let's switch over to the big screen here. Happy Friday, everybody. Hello. Pretty Girl's mom, Carrie checking in, Tennyson Yoga Girl, Our Tiny Acres, and Amy. Hello. I hope you guys all had a wonderful day today. It was a pretty good day today. I got to spend a lot of quality time today with a beautiful lady. So that is always a wonderful thing. We had a lot of driving around to do and getting things ready for the weekend here. So it was a good day. Our Tiny Acres, you said you posted on Discord, but you were hungry and your husband stopped at the roadside fruit stand and got you oranges. You should marry that guy. Oh, wait, I think you already did. Yes, that's awesome. And it's great that there are options to get, a roadside stand where you can pick up some fruit. And I think that over time, you develop and you learn where those sources of food are at. Anthony, hello, Anthony. How are you doing? It feels like it's been a while, but it might not have been. I hope you're doing well. But I guess before I started this diet, I had, in my mind where I could go to get food. I can just go to the fast food restaurant. I can go to this restaurant. I can go to this gas station. And I knew where all of the food that I wanted was at. And as soon as I switched to this diet, all of those sources became non-existent. Every source that I knew of or every place I knew to go get food went away once I switched to eating this diet. And so over the past 860 days, I have had to find new sources for that food. If I'm in a pinch, instead of going to a gas station, I'm going to go to a grocery store. That's really the biggest thing is that I go to grocery stores to buy my food now. I don't go to convenience stores. I don't go to fast food restaurants. Let me know if the stream is messing up. I'm getting a lot of warnings on my thing, which makes me feel like as soon as I try to show you food, it's going to screw up even more. So let me know if it is screwing up or not working on your guys' end. Anthony said you've been busy. No, that's great. It's awesome. I'm glad to see you here, and I hope things have been going well while they've been busy. Let's see here. I'm going to try to link this and see if I can show food photos today. That's what I wanted, I think. But yeah, so the source of my food is different. And there was one of the books that I listened to, and it might have been Atomic Habits, kind of talked, God, I don't know if it was Atomic Habits because it was talking about food. It might have been a different book. But anyways, they were talking about like a rabbit. And if you have a rabbit and you let them out into this huge 40-acre field, and the rabbit runs around that field and it finds a high source of food up in the top right-hand corner of that 40-acre lot, he's going to sit there and he's going to eat that. And then you take the rabbit away and you let him out again the next day, and he might not go right to that corner, but eventually he's going to work his way back to that corner because that's where he got food last time. And if you do that enough times, then the rabbit will just go right for that spot, and it will pass up all of the other spots because that's the spot where it knows it has food. And so we're like that too. If we go to a spot and it gives us food and we get a good response from that food, then our brain pins that spot in our mind and says, hey, this is a spot where we got this. This is a spot where we got this dopamine rush that we're looking for. And so the next time you go back out and you're looking for food and you see that those golden arches, your brain goes back to what it remembers the last time you went there, and it says to go there. And by switching to this diet, I had to reprogram all of those places that my mind says to go to for food. And it's taken some time, but it works out great. Like today I went shopping at a grocery store that prior to starting this diet, I never would have gone into. I would have had zero reason to go into a natural grocers because the local Walmart or the local, large grocery store would have everything I would have needed before. But now, we pick up steel cut oats and rolled oats and oat groats. That's the main reason I was in that store today, was to buy those things. And I can get a lot of those things from the other grocery store, but they're more expensive. So it's not only this place gives me my food, but it also saves me some money, which is nice. But yeah, I've had to retrain my brain to not look at those old sources of food as still viable locations for me to get food. And I remember talking about it really early on, like when I was 1 or 2 months in, and just kind of having to not trick my brain isn't the right maybe words, but I had to think of these fast food restaurants differently, because when I would come into work, I would drive by every fast food restaurant on my way into work. I mean, it literally, unless they're not in the area, like unless it's like a White Castle. We don't have White Castles here, but all of the major chains, all of them, I would drive by them every day when I went to work and every day when I got home. And when I first started this diet, I can remember having to kind of look at those places and visualize how toxic they are, like maybe metaphorically or not, because like when I look at the building and I see the smoke billowing out of it, in the past that was, aroma and smell and fresh cooked food. And now I look at that puff of white smoke, and in my mind, I visualize it as a green puff of smoke. It's toxins that they're burning and they're just putting out into the world. That's how I had to change my mentality and the way I look at those places to help kind of reinforce me to stay away from them. And so yeah, it's been great. Let's see, audio's choppy. Did it? Oh wow, it looks like it might be choppy still. It says excellent condition, but it might still be choppy. So we'll try to get through the food since yesterday. I didn't even really take a lot of photos of food because the whole day got screwed up today. So let's see here. Everybody's saying that it was choppy. Hopefully it cleared up. Let's see. And our Tiny Acre says the grocery stores and fruit stands are great. Yeah, they're great. And it's a nice spot to get some food. And Rebecca says saving money is always great. It's a win-win situation. Absolutely. Me speaking is the most important part. Oh, so the video might be, oh, okay. So the audio is great, but the video is choppy. I see what, I didn't read your whole comment. I just saw audio and choppy, and that's all. I didn't read anything in between, but thanks. Let's see. Yes, my food got screwed up because my wife is not the world's best planner. I think that's what she's saying. Yes. So yeah, let me go ahead and go over food here. Then, oh, you know what? It's not even connected anymore. So we'll see what happens. I really only have a couple photos of food, and it was an awesome dinner last night. It was really good. Let me see. It was something we've had a few times recently. Mushroom bourguignon, something like that. Mushroom, and then the word starts with a B, and it's French, and I always screw it up every time that I try to say it. But this was dinner last night. There's a lot of potatoes there, and then a bunch of mushrooms. And then I think I took a photo of it all mixed together. You know, it was real creamy. So something that we don't do a lot. But something that we did last night is Carrie took the potatoes and she actually made mashed potatoes. She took them and put them in a mixer and added a little bit of the West soy, or it's called Soy Life milk. I think it's a different name now, but the soy milk that we use, and made it really creamy. And Carrie even says, yes, I really enjoyed it with the mashed potatoes last night. So it's silly that it's the same food. It's still just potato, but just taking the time to mash it and then add a little bit of liquid to it just made it real nice and a wonderful. And then I had a bowl of the soup that we had from the day before. So this was from the Plant-Based Woman Warrior Cookbook. And I don't know the name of the soup, but I know it's in their cookbook. Potato something. Carrie might chime in and say what it was. But that is the only food photos that I took, and there's all my other photos and my phone. There you go. So let's see. Pretty Girl's mom says, "Oi, oi." Yeah. So that was great last night. Dinner was great last night, and then today, my whole schedule got a little bit screwed up just because, yeah, I guess Carrie didn't do a great job planning her the morning this morning. And you were talking to a kiddo. I was just trying to figure out what the name of that soup was from the Plant-Based Woman Warrior Cookbook. So the what was I talking about? I was talking about potatoes, and then I was gonna talk about the day today. Vegetable soup with carrots and beans, Carrie says is the name of that. Today I had to pick Carrie up. She had to take the car over to get some yes, and it had Farro in it, and the Farro definitely absorbed more of the liquid and kind of puffed up a little bit more yesterday in it as well. So, okay, so it's vegetable soup with Farro in beans, and the Farro auto-corrected to carrots, so there was no carrots in there. Anyways, it's from the Plant-Based Woman Warrior Cookbook. Check it out. I was talking about the day we had to take the car in for service today, and I got turned into a chauffeur of sorts. So, yes, beef bourguignon. It's like that. I believe that's the. There's no beef in it, but that's the word I was looking for. Pretty girl's mom. So I got to be a chauffeur today. I got to drive Miss Carrie around all over town, picked her up to get her car serviced, went to get her hair did. I even did her grocery shopping for her today. Um, and so my morning got kind of screwed up. We took the car over to get the service work done, and we left the service shop, and we got, I don't know, 10 minutes away, and Carrie realized that she had left the oatmeal in the car that I was going to have for breakfast. And so I didn't end up eating breakfast until like noon or 1 o'clock today. It was super late before I got here and actually had my meal. And then all I ate today is the oatmeal. I haven't cooked any broccoli. Carrie had potatoes in the Instapot that I didn't end up getting to. So I haven't had a lot of food today. Our tiny acres, no problem. That happens. Phones die. So you have a great afternoon, and we will see you on Monday. So yeah, I ended up driving all over town this morning, and it threw my day off a little bit, but it was okay because it was good company. So that was kind of be a plant-based warrior. Be a plant-based. Your autocorrect is killing you today, Carrie. It's a be a plant-based woman warrior cookbook. Yes. Be a plant-based woman warrior cookbook. Yeah. So it's been a good day. Like I said, I haven't felt like I've eaten a ton today, but I don't feel bad. I feel good even without having a ton of food because I ate a ton of food yesterday, and I ate a ton of food the day before that, and I ate a ton of food the day before that. So if I got to go a couple hours, or if I go a half day eating a little bit less, yes, we can tell you're surrounded by a bunch of kids and you don't have time to proofread your text, your chat feed. Absolutely. So today it was a busy day, and there was it's French version of beef stew turned into a whole food plant-based. Yes, Pretty Girl's mom is saying the bourguignon or there's a B in there though. Did you spell the word right when you wrote it earlier? Anyways, it doesn't matter. I don't know how to speak French, so I wouldn't know how to pronounce it anyways. So let's see. Today was a great day, and today I was going to talk about eating disorder or disordered eating. And I noticed that the video got choppy again, so hopefully it fixes itself and stays fixed. Eating disorder or disordered eating. That's something I feel like I've talked about a decent bit in the past, but I think that we confuse eating disorders with disordered eating. I think that many of us, and I think that I was definitely somebody who had very disordered eating. The food that I was eating was not natural, not normal food. I think that what we do is we pin ourselves with an eating disorder. And so then instead of putting the blame on the food that you're eating, you put the blame on yourself. It's not the food that you're eating that's not natural. You're saying that your instinct to eat is not natural, and it's a mistake. If it's your instinct, then it's natural. Like that's the nature of the word. That's the of the word instinct, is it's natural. So for you to blame your appetite on an eating disorder, I think that it is a mistake. I think it's a mistake that a lot of us make, that we start blaming ourselves. And yeah, you have to be French to pronounce it correctly, I imagine. The food, so we blame ourselves, and the food industries want us to blame ourselves, because if we blamed them, then they would have to change. But as long as the blame for what you eat gets put on you, then it's your fault. You're the one with the disorder. You're the one that can't control what you eat. You're the one that can't lose weight. You're the one that can't cope in society. You're the problem in society. It's not society. You're the outlier. But what we're finding is that as the obesity rate increases, that we're not being the outlier. It's not the random outlier that ends up being obese. It's becoming the norm to become obese. And so at some point we have to stop blaming the population and saying that it's not the American people's fault that the obesity rate is over 40%. It's the food industry's fault. It's the grocery store's fault. It's the access that we have. That's where the fault needs to lie. It's not on the people. But these companies can't be blamed, because if they get blamed, they have to make changes. And if they make changes, then they might lose money. And if they lose money, their shareholders will kick them to the curb. So the companies don't want the blame, so they push it off of themselves as much as possible. They say it's you, it's your metabolism, it's your environment, it's all these other things. It's not the food that they give you access to. And so we blame ourselves. I have an eating disorder. That's what how many people are walking around this world saying, I have an eating disorder. And in reality, it's the food that they have access to that's the disordered part. It's the food that they're accessing, the food that, me and Carrie were driving through a poor neighborhood today. And I made a comment. I go, isn't it amazing how we're driving through this neighborhood and the two nicest buildings are a fast food restaurant and a pharmacy? Everything else is run down and not been taken care of, or it's barely holding on. But all the money, all the profit is in the food restaurants and in the pharmaceuticals. And it's just this craziness that we don't, if you're not looking, I guess you wouldn't see it, but it was almost like sad, like driving down the road and seeing this big new brick building and being like, they're surrounded by low income people, and they're getting them to come in and buy these fast food sandwiches for a ridiculous amount of money that they're not getting any real nutrients out of. They're getting calories from it, but it's not real food. It's not good food, and so these people that live in poorer neighborhoods, that the only access they have to food is the convenience store or the fast food restaurant. How are they supposed to get real food? How are they supposed to eat natural, regular food if they're only surrounded by processed junk? T.O. says that they have food scientists that conduct research to make the foods as addictive as possible. 100%. It's millions and millions and billions of dollars are spent on research on how to trick us, or how to push us into a certain way. Like, they don't have to necessarily go full out trick or full out, bamboozle you to get you to do their product, but they might just nudge you a little bit. They might maybe say something that's a little untrue, or it's, a little boastful, like even I mean, there's so much. There's not, if you go to a grocery store and you pick up a box of cereal from one of the name brand cereal companies, there's not a square millimeter on that box that they didn't pay somebody to design and to make it that color with that writing, with those pictures, with that contrast, with this information on it. There's not a speck on a box of cereal that the company didn't pay somebody thousands of dollars to engineer just the box to be a specific way, just to get you to visually go towards their product and not the competitor's product. And then once you actually get into the food that's in the box, yeah, it gets crazy what they're doing to that food, and how they doctor it, how they will put chemicals in it to create these reactions within the food to make it hold longer, to make it sit better, to make it, more stable. But those chemicals that are added to the products to stabilize them, to lengthen their shelf life, that isn't in the product for the consumer. They don't lengthen the shelf life because it's going to make it taste better. They don't lengthen the shelf life because it's going to be a better food for you to eat because it's on the shelf longer. They lengthen the shelf life so they can sell it for a longer period of time. And so, hi, Tammy. I hope you're having a great day. We're just talking about the food industry a little bit right now, and how we've all been convinced that we have eating disorders, but in reality, it's our environment that is disordered, and it's the world that is putting these horrible products in front of us, or these products that aren't natural, and they're trying to blame our natural instinct on why we're fat, why we're overweight, why we're unhealthy, but then they ignore the fact that they're giving us unnatural food all the time. So yes, I am doing great. Ichigo here says that when you were 13, you were anorexic. You weighed literally around 100 pounds, pure pressure, dealing with other stuff. Didn't get to a normal weight till you were 16. Was 2 guys in your support group of 12. So, yeah, it's tough when when you're around people. I'm not exactly sure. Let's see. Ron here says Nudge by Richard Thaler talks about nudges used to adjust behavior, good or bad. Okay, so it's a book, Nudge by Richard Thaler, that talks about the nudges to adjust behavior for good or bad. Yeah, and so these companies spend thousands and thousands of dollars to develop it, and we allow it to happen. We encourage it in some ways because we want we think it's clever. Like the fact that we figured out how to nudge people is something that people are kind of intrigued by and amused by, and it's something that we've been doing for years and years, and we encourage it. And in some areas it might benefit people, in some areas it hurts people. And the example I always brought up a lot is that when I was young, we went on a field trip with my school to the local university. And one of the big things that they talked about at the university was that at the arena where they would play basketball, they had the locker rooms, and the guest locker room was intentionally painted a shade of pink. And the home team did that because they had their psychologists come in, or they had these people that had done testing with colors. And they said that if you're surrounded by a light pink, that you're less aggressive. It creates calmness. And so they painted the guest locker room to try to create an advantage to the home team, because the locker room was painted a certain color, and some competitive teams would come in and they would cover the walls up with paper just so the players wouldn't see the pink walls, because they didn't want that little bit of psychological advantage to cost them a point in the game later. And so that was something that I very much remember going to the stadium, having them explain that to me, and them being like, see how smart these people are, that they figured out that if you do, you make these walls a certain color, that it can give the home team an advantage. And in that context, it's kind of okay, like, sure, that seems, they're playing a game, they're having, like, that's fine. But when it concerns people's health, then you have to start looking at it, and you have to start thinking about that effect that has, because just like a certain shade of pink causes you to calm down, certain shades of yellow and certain shades of red induce hunger. And these companies that are selling us food, they've seen that research. So when you see the color yellow in these fast food restaurants, almost all of them have the color yellow in them that I'm thinking of off the top of my head, but many of them have the color yellow in them. Many of them have the color red in them. And many times they're a very similar shade of that color. Like, I can't think of too many fast food restaurants that use maroon as their main color, but I can think of a lot of them that use a bright red. I can't think of any that use like a purpley kind of color, but I can think of ones that use blue. And so, like, they intentionally choose these colors to get you to eat their food. And they don't want they want it to be subconscious. Like, they want you to choose their food without even thinking. Like, I want that food over the competitor. I want that food over something else. So it's just difficult to survive in this world and continue to try to stay healthy when all you're surrounded by is this unnatural food, this disordered food. Like, and you have to stop blaming yourself. I mean, there's a certain amount of blame that you can take, and there is a certain amount that could be on you. Like, I'm not saying you're free of responsibility for your situation, but you can't blame yourself wholly for the situation you got in. The thing you have to do is, you can't just, if once you recognize it, you have to take action towards fixing the problem too. Like, for so long I was ignorant to it. I didn't even think about it, like, and it was just part of being in society, was seeing advertisements and trying new things. Like, that's something that these companies really, 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 really get us, and the greatest example I can think of off the top of my head is Taco Bell. There are 4 ingredients inside of a Taco Bell restaurant, and they have 40 items on their menu. Like, it's just them reorganizing the same 4 or 5 ingredients. But they do that because then they can put a sign on the building that says, hey, try this new product. Try this new thing that you've never had before. but you really have had it before. You've had it many times before. It's just in a different order, and it's just with a different wrapper on it, with a different sticker stuck to it. But they keep changing. They want you to keep wanting something new. We have this fear of missing out. I think that many of us have a fear of missing out because we're worried that we're going to miss out on something good, you know? And so we put up with not missing a bunch of bad things because we're worried we're going to miss out on something good. So these restaurants know that. They absolutely know that, you know, and they know that they can, you know, put up, you know, limited time, come get our pork sandwich. And they know people will come run if they say it's limited time. They know people will come run if they say it's new, you know, come try our brand new, I lost my stream. What happened? I don't know what's going on. The stream rate is lower than the recommended. It says I'm still live. It says I have an extra connection, but my video disappeared. Maybe I hit a button. I don't know. Switch to live. Let me see what happens when I do that. Let me know if I'm still talking to anybody. That would be wonderful. Drop for a minute. Let me see. I see my face again. So I think I'm back. I'm back, guys. All right. So, we were talking about disordered food. Let's see. Tammy here says you have noticed that the lighted sitting in a restaurant makes a difference as well. Yeah, they absolutely. The atmosphere in the restaurants, the things they put on the walls, the chairs, the booths, everything has got a specific design to it. You know, even the things that aren't comfortable or might be designed specifically to be uncomfortable so that they churn through people, you know, but yeah, there's so much of that nudging that somebody was talking. There's a book. I lost my, by Richard Thaler. I'm sure that goes into all of that, you know, like the different ways they nudge you all over the world for different things. But it's talking about food and just it's crazy, you know, like, and well, I was talking about the chain, you know, how they keep coming out with this new, try the new and improved, the new and improved. And it's just to get us to consume once. Like they just want you to try it one time because they know they can get a big rush of people to try it that first time. And then they'll get a percentage of people to continue to buy that product after that initial rush. But if they make it seem like a new product or a limited time product, then they can create a demand. They create the demand by having new products. Like the demand would be pretty stable if they weren't continuing to try to trick us into trying the new thing, even though it's the exact same as the old thing, or it might have been a repeat of a new thing a year ago, but they brand it as new again, or they, like I said, branded it as limited time. And so the world that we live in is not built in our favor at this point. Like it's been pushed so far to the process side and the unhealthy side that it's really tough to see what actual food looks like, actual eating looks like. And I'm doing it now. Like I really feel like I'm eating much closer to the way that I would have eaten 5,000 years ago or 10,000 years ago or however many years ago. That now, you know, compared to how I used to eat, you know, like I thought I used to eat uh, closer to what nature was. And I thought if I ate a paleo diet or a keto diet, that was getting closer to nature, and it's not. And that's not at all getting closer to nature. I don't think people understand how different life would have been in a natural setting versus the societal setting that we have now. Like the one of the things that I don't know, it's just a silly thing, but I'm wondering why we didn't, when we were developing, like especially the rural areas where I live, like everybody has an oak tree in their yard, everybody has a maple tree in their yard. And as a kid, I can remember having an apple tree in my yard, but like imagine if we just had, if every time somebody had planted an oak tree in a residential neighborhood, if they would have put an apple tree there or a pear tree or a peach tree, or if we had fruit just growing everywhere, like and not that it would be enough maybe to sustain people, but like, and you have to deal with the cleaning up the fruit and all this other stuff. But like when you walk down the city street and they have these little trees planted to kind of create this atmosphere of that you're not in the middle of a concrete jungle. What if those were fruit trees? What if those were cherry trees? But then somebody owns the tree and then they're protecting their fruit. Like there's reasons why we don't do it. But imagine if we would have done it. If every tree in your yard produced fruit, if every tree in a neighborhood was something that the neighborhood, could collectively bring together. But that, we didn't do that. And it would be impossible to go back to that. But I feel like if we were around thousands of years ago in our natural setting, that we would have hung out by the apple trees. We would have hung out by the orange trees. We would have hung out where the food grew, and we would have stayed there and eaten all of the easy to eat food. Because I think that they get confused with how much of an effort difference there is between eating plants and eating animals. If you didn't have any tools and you had to go out and fend for yourself in the mountains or in the woods, we send you off into this huge forest and you got to fend for yourself, and you have no tools. You don't have knives, you don't have arrows, you don't have sticks. Well, you can pick up a stick, but you don't have the modern things, or even a lot of what we consider, even primitive tools. But even with the primitive tools, even if I give you primitive tools, go out and catch a rabbit. Go out and kill a deer. Let me see you take down a buffalo. Let me see you take down a dairy cow. Like you go or even just a beef cow. Like you show up and you give them the intention that you're going to harm them. They're not going to just say, oh, okay. They're going to run. They're going to fight. They're going to give you grief. Even if it's what you assume is an extremely docile animal, like a cow would be considered, I think, a pretty docile animal. That animal's going to fight for its life. And so if you had to go between eating, having to take an animal's life, figure out how to take the animal's life, take the animal's life, and then figure out how to eat it, or grab an apple off a tree, which one do you think you would have done? And if we threw you in the woods, which one are you going to do today? You got, if we throw you in an orchard, you're surrounded by orange trees, you're surrounded by apple trees, you're surrounded by whatever, all these fruits, and you see a deer eating an apple off the tree, are you going to take the deer down, or are you going to eat the apples? And then maybe if you run out of apples, start looking at the deer. You're going to just eat the apples because it's not worth the effort. Apples don't run away. they don't fight back. They don't have horns. So, Pretty Girl's mom, you're back. I'm still here. Yes. Um, so I had a little bit of technical difficulties there, but, so I think that we have a misconception of what food and diet should be. And it's not our fault that we have that misconception, because it's been drilled into us from before we were born. It's been drilled in the things that society as a whole believes about diet, the mainstream ideas that people believe about diet, have been around since before most of us were born. And so we were born in to a society of disordered eating. And it takes a lot of effort to realize it. And then it takes some effort to free yourself from it. And it takes effort to keep yourself away from it, because you have to recognize it, you have to remove yourself from it, and you have to keep yourself away. And those are the three things that, to make it last, because if you don't, then you'll just go back. And it's frustrating. It really is. It feels like it's an impossible battle, trying to spread the word about it, but I'm also very satisfied in the fact that even if I can't get other people to change, that I've made the change in myself, I've made the change within my family, and that should net me positive results for the future. And so it's just a shame, because there's so many people out there that believe they have an eating disorder, that they have a binge eating disorder, they have some sort of issue that is inherent in them, that it's their problem, that it's their issue that they're fat, and it's not your issue. It's not your fault that you're fat. It really isn't. It would be like blaming a child for not passing a calculus test. How could you expect them to know how to do it if they've never been taught? They haven't had the opportunity to learn. And so it's great. It's been great to find this and really feel like I have a much better answer than I've had ever in my life, because I've always had the question in my head, what's wrong with me? And the answer is absolutely nothing. Nothing's wrong with me. It was the choices that were put in front of me, and it was the decisions I made based on what choices I thought were, or what options were in front of me. And what I didn't realize is that the scope of options that I was looking at was very narrow, and it was what the people around me, or the people that influence you, want you to see. They only want you to see certain things as viable for your diet. I don't know, just for whatever reason, broccoli popped into my head. Just the thought of broccoli, and how I despised the idea of broccoli. I thought that, why would anybody want broccoli? I suppose if you cover it in cheese, or you do some crazy stuff to it, maybe, but not just, why would you eat just regular straight broccoli? So to me, it wasn't an option. It wasn't a food that I thought was important, and now it's extremely important food. It's one of the top, it's probably by volume right now, it's the leader in my stomach, between that and potatoes, broccoli and potatoes. And the All these diet industries for years now have been trying to knock broccoli and potato because they know that their product, they can make their product taste better. They can add chemicals and sugars and stuff to make it taste better. So if our diet food can taste better than your potatoes and broccoli, then come eat our diet food. But what they're not explaining to you is that it's only better in taste. It's not better in nutrient density. It's not better in volume. It's not better in health. All that it's better in is taste, because that's what they know they can lead you with. They can, because that's where we make decisions based on our tongue, and what we want to please our tongues. We want to make sure that the tongue is happy with what touches it. And Carrie says, don't do it. It's a trap. Yes, don't do it. Don't fall for their tricks. They want you to believe that their unnatural food is better than natural food. And there's no profit in natural food. There's not a profit margin. You know, like we buy a 12-ounce bag of broccoli for 97 cents. There's probably profit in that 12-ounce bag of broccoli. But if I go to buy a 12-ounce bag of Tostitos pizza rolls, there's going to be a lot more profit built into the Tostitos pizza rolls versus the broccoli. But if it's the same volume of food, then the Tostinos isn't going to truly satisfy you any more than the broccoli will. It'll satisfy your taste pleasure, but it won't satisfy your overall pleasure. You know, I'm having just a crap time with this stream. Carrie's now telling me I have audio issues. My video was junky the whole time, and so I've been going for a while anyways. I'm gonna get out of here for the weekend. I don't have any huge plans this weekend. I am going to be on my own at the beginning of next week, so we got a little bit of work to do to get ready for that. And Carrie says she left and came back. It's a little bit better, but I should probably get out of here anyways. So yeah, early next week, I'm going to be on my own. So I probably will end up losing, like, I don't know, 100 pounds, because Carrie's not going to be there to help me with my food. But Carrie wants to go to the movies. She's been bugging me about seeing the movies. Maybe we'll go to the movies this weekend. So, but yeah, I'm going to get out of here. I appreciate you guys so much. I really do appreciate the support. I love the comments, the suggestions, all of it. It really helps keep me on track, keep me accountable, and keeps this thing going. So I appreciate you guys greatly. If you have not subscribed to the channel, make sure you do get subscribed to the channel now that my screen tells me I have an excellent connection. If you've not clicked on the bell icon, click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. Like this video. Make sure you like this video. Comment down below. What are you doing this weekend? What are you going to do to get out and have fun this weekend? And if you have not started your diet yet, get started right now. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. There's nothing coming up that's more important than your health and your overall well-being. And even if it's not changing your food this second, start making the steps to make it happen. Start, getting the shopping list together, get the plan together. How are you going to get rid of those processed foods? Start developing your plan this second. So many times I said, you know what? Monday's the day. And I did nothing to get ready for Monday being the day. Monday would show up and I'd be like, all right, today's the day. Oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know. Oh, maybe I just won't eat breakfast. Or maybe I'll just, make a plan. Get something together. Write it out. Say what you're going to get rid of, what your goal is going to be. Just get it out there. Get it on paper. Tell somebody. Just make your goals known and start working towards them. Don't keep dragging your feet. It's not worth it. It's just going to cause you to die sooner. So get started right now, guys. I want to see you here in 10 years. I want to see you here in 15 years and in 20 years. And if you guys don't change your diet, you're not going to be around to talk to me, and it's going to make me sad. So get started right now. You guys all have a great day, and we will talk to you on Monday.